Hi class. First, I would like to say before I talk about the next essay section of the integrated research essay, I would just like to say happy 4th of July to everyone. We are currently in a heat wave, so I think that's fitting that that is going along with the summer holiday. But I just wanted to wish everybody a good holiday and have some time to spend with your family and just enjoy yourselves. So, this week we are going to embark on our third of the 4 essay sections of the integrated research essay. And um, this week and week, um, for the next 2 weeks, we will be doing this essay, and this is the shortest out of the 4. This essay section is not as long as the previous one, so let's get right into it. Okay, so to define consequences, it can be defined as the effect, result, or outcome of something occurring earlier. And just to again remind you that this is the third essay section. So just as the context section was the introduction, the comparison essay section was the first body part, the body parts of the IRE, and this is the second half of the body paragraph frame of the IRE. So now we're going to be looking at what are the consequences in essentially the rhetorical question of what if. So what would happen if side 1 got what it was looking for, and or what if side 2 would get also what it was looking for. So again, with this essay section, it kind of takes on the role of two essay styles, partially cause and effect and partially persuasive and argumentative. And I will explain the argumentative section at the end. But right now, if we look at the consequences, usually there is an effect that happens when a consequence is made. So your paper will need to address primarily what consequences will or might arise if side 1 gets what it wants, but also what if side 2 gets what it wants. And then there is the possible, there is a very possible reality or a situation. What if there is no resolution? So with that last question, if there is no resolution, you are not concluding about that. So you wanted, there's a fine line there. The next section is when we will start to wrap everything up. So the second bullet is consequences can be real or they can be speculative. You may need to look at similar situations to get an idea on this. So with that, think about it if you know, nothing is tangible and you might have to speculate, well, if this were to happen, then maybe this will be a result of that. We never really know. So you want to brainstorm ideas of what could be the possible scenarios if side 1 gets what it wants, and what would be the consequences or the ramifications to that. And the third bullet point says that, you know, either consequence can be positive or negative, and there is no, I mean, and in some way it is okay if the consequences are positive or negative. Which ones outweigh the other is something that you would want to also look at or to think about. So on the right-hand side, this gives an example of positive and negative consequences. I believe in an earlier video, I had given a situation about what would happen if the school day started later. So to continue with that theme, there are 3 potential positive consequences that would come of that. The first one being students might see a rise in grades, also with test scores. There would be a drop in absences and tardiness. There could even be fewer social problems, depression, drug use, etc. So these are all potential consequences, and we can actually foresee that one of them may or may not happen. On the flip side, negative ramifications of having a school day start later would be families might need to find alternative care for younger siblings because they will have to, their day is longer or the school day finishes at a later time. And another negative complication could be just a complication for a family schedule, transportation, jobs, anything that would come after the school day finishes. So with that, you want to consider or look at how positive and negative consequences, can some of them, positive or negative, outweigh the other side. So the next steps in this IRE essay section, the goal is to explore consequences in a way to help you frame a possible solution. So remember, this is going for the next essay section, so you want to think ahead a little bit. So I'm just going to read what is there. The goal of exploring consequences is to help you frame a possible solution to the conflict you have identified. Now that you have explored what will, might, or could happen if each side prevails, you have the full picture you need to decide how we should move forward, which you will do in the final essay section of the IRE. So in the long scheme of things, it's good at this point now where you have set up your stage, you've laid out the both sides. Now you are thinking what will happen if one side prevails or not. You're now beginning to see the bigger picture of the topic you have chosen. Okay, so I just want to add this, and this is part of the graphic that explains the details for this essay section. So your primary research question is, what are the consequences if a change is made for one side or the other? What happens if there is no resolution? Your thesis or something similar to this should appear in your essay. The most significant consequences to this conflict are, so you can rephrase that to however it fits for your topic. And the format for this essay section, it should be 3 to 4 pages. And again, it's a transition from essay 2. So it is a body section. So you will have no introduction and no conclusion. You will have 3 sources. I'm flexible on which ones you find, so pick 3 out of the 4: Academic Search Premier, ProQuest Central, Google Scholar, or even another organizational credible internet source. So it has to be an edu, a .gov, or something that is viable. Okay, and evidence. You will need to have 2 in-text citations per paragraph. Please try to create a bit of variety so you could have a direct quote, a summary, and a paraphrase. Okay, so the last part here is this is where you can introduce a little bit of argument and persuasiveness. So you list the major arguments used by each side to support their position and you evaluate it. What are the strengths and weaknesses of those arguments? So this should not be confused with the previous essay where you had to lay out the points of agreement and disagreement. So with this, you might want to, once you say, okay, here are the consequences, and then you have to kind of in so many ways persuade and why some of these consequences are better than the other. What are some of the strengths and weaknesses? So if you can kind of combine a little bit of cause and effect and persuasion, that would be the overall objective of this essay section. So if anyone has any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I look forward to reading your essay section. And again, have a great 4th of July, everyone. Thank you.